Now, you're not going to be working with tables very long in SQL Server as a database administrator before the day is going to come that you need to change the structure of a table that you created at an earlier point, and it probably is already going to have data in it. So now let's talk about changing a table. A table structure can be easily modified by using the alter table command. And the following table definition modifications can be made using the alter table command. Now keep in mind, you can also alter a table or make changes to the table definition or the table structure. All those mean the same thing. You can do them in code, which is what we're going to do in this video. And then I'll do a separate video on graphical table alterations, and I'll show you how to do it out there in the interface. And that's really cool as well. So when we're making changes to our table, notice we can add or drop columns. We can add or drop constraints. We can reassign partitions, and we haven't talked about partitions. And we could disable or enable constraints and triggers. Now watch that one. That one historically has been kind of a trick question on the exam for a lot of people. When we don't want a trigger to fire, do we have to drop the trigger? Well, no, you can actually use the alter table command and disable the trigger or disable a constraint. So just keep that in mind. You don't disable the trigger. You don't disable the constraint by using some sort of disable trigger command. You use the alter table command to do that. So keep that in mind. Now, if you'll look in your working files folder, you'll see the sample code very, very similar to what you're going to see me do here in just a second. And I've also put a page out of the SQL Books online documentation to make it easy for you to find. And this is the complete documentation on the alter table command that you will find in Books Online. So I hope that helps you out a little bit, trying to take care of you there. So let's jump out to the desktop and let's talk about altering a table using code. Now, I am going to use my taskbar shortcut, and I'm going to open the SQL Server Management Studio. So I clicked on that. Here it comes. And when this opens up, it'll ask me to connect to a database. I'm going to connect to the SQL Server 2 database. That's really the NetBIOS name, if you will, of my server where I installed SQL Server. And then I'll come up here on the button bar and choose New Query. And that will open our query window. And then I'm going to come over here to the Object Explorer and expand databases, and then expand AdventureWorks, and then expand tables. And if you remember, we created this mark table in a video that was very cleverly entitled Creating a Table. So that's how we created this table right here. And what we're going to do is alter that table. Now, let me just show you. I'm just going to copy and paste into here the code that I used to create that table, right? There it is. So now if I want to change that table, and what I want to do is add that level column that we had. So what I'm going to do here first is I'm just going to do a real quick select asterisk from Mark. Come up here and make sure that I'm querying against the AdventureWorks 2012 table. I'll highlight just this command and execute it. And you can see that I have person ID, last name, first name, and age. That's all I put in up here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide my results pane. And also, let me show you something about that right quick like. If I execute this, and if I'm clicked in the top part and go to window, sometimes I won't see hide results pane. Maybe it's when I'm clicked over here. I won't see it. No, you won't see it over here, okay? So what you have to do is be in this window, make this window active, or make this window active. And when you do, you will see that hide results pane. Just a little tip to keep you from getting confused and lost and frustrated. So let's change this table. We're going to issue the alter table command, and then we give it the name of the table we want to alter. And we're going to add a column called level. We want the data type to be tinyInt, and we will allow this table to accept nulls. And we'll put a semicolon at the end, and I'll talk about semicolons in a separate video. So what I will do now is just highlight this particular command, execute this, and it comes back and says command completed successfully. And so all I need to do now is go back and look at my table. So I am going to, instead of hiding that every time, I'm going to grab it right here and just pull it down and get it out of the way. And I will select all from Mark one more time. And you'll notice there is that column level. Now, if I come over here to columns, notice there is the level column has been added. So in this instance, we altered a table and added a column called level. Now, if you'll go out there and refer to the alter table documentation that I've got out there in the working files folder for you, you will see other ways to alter a table, to drop a column, to work with all the other aspects of a table like I talked about earlier. So altering a table, there's a lot out there to learn on each one of these steps. I'm not going to cover every possible functionality of each one of these particular commands. We could be here for a couple of months going through that. Just go through that. That's your homework assignment, to dig into these things a little more. And next up, in a separate video, we'll look at making changes to a table graphically, and I think you're really going to like what you see there.